Well, hi everyone, thank you all for coming to the presentation. Sorry about my voice, I'm getting over a cold. I'm Peter from 6 Degrees. We've got lots of colleagues here, but particularly I'd like to point out Michael, who worked on bid and town planning stages for this project, and Naz, who's a project lead and recently become an associate. Munro Development, ngarrgu, it's a 7-year project. We haven't been able to present it yet due to the completion of the fit-outs, but that's all done now, so we're good to go. We are on Wurundjeri land. I want to thank particularly Alan Wandon, who is very engaged with us in the consultation processes. He's the elder from the Wurundjeri, and his daughter, Brooke, who's doing a lot of research into language with the State Library and also now with the City of Melbourne, has assisted with all of the naming of the building and has an ongoing role with education children in the library services part of this job. Is this laggy?
Because it dropped.
Okay, but yes, sorry. Locating the site, of course you all know where the market is. The Munro site was owned by the Munro family for 80 years and was purchased by the City of Melbourne as a strategic purchase in order to relocate the car park from the surface where it is to become a future public park. A little known fact, the Queen Victoria Market is actually our Sydney Opera House. It's the most visited place in the City of Melbourne. So it generates an incredible amount of foot traffic, but it is also has limited hours of operation. So part of the idea of this redevelopment by the city was to increase the time clock of the market precinct and to make it operate over a longer period of days and a longer period of the day-night cycle. Part of our ideas for the job were, how do we connect to this colour and life of the market, and how do we maximise the activation potential of the building? And architecturally, how do we make a building which is not a singular object, but actually an extension of the city? Now, this shot shows a little bit of construction, but on the left is the Bates Smart component of the project. It's a joint venture project led by PDG, Bates Smart with a commercial lead, and we with a community lead, if you like. And in between is a new laneway. There. Ground floor, 6 Degrees believe that 80% should be a minimum of activation on CBD buildings. In this case, we've achieved closer to 90%. The purple is retail, the yellow is circulation and lobby spaces. And it's because of the introduction of this new laneway between the two parts of the project. We've got a building in the round. So it's got 2 main street faces, it's got a new arcade face, and it's got a rear elevation. Activation, everyone talks about it, not everyone does it. It's not well regulated, but in this case we've got heritage fabric which is incorporated into the new build, and that's the old pub on the corner, the Merker Cross. So it's returned as a activated precinct, and all of the new fabric down the laneway is also active edge. This network of open lanes, the permeability of the site was a very important aspect to our success in the competition phase. So the City of Melbourne really recognised that it's a very Melbourne approach. It's connecting the market, which was disconnected from the CBD, back to Franklin Street and further into Elizabeth Street. So over time, we believe this will be a really, really great asset. So there's one fully open to sky new laneway and a fully open to sky half lane, which is the entry to the library. We've tried to make circulation very intuitive, so nobody's looking for the way into the building. We've explored this typology of vaulting for the retail spaces. It's something that you see in Europe, and it's I think a way to soften what is a relatively cheap and constructed as a very commercial building in many ways because of the procurement process, a way to soften that and give something back to the public which is going to last a long time. Going up the building, this is a library level and the return of the hotel and the balcony, which was there historically. The room on the right, Nganga, is a city space. So it's something that we put into the brief very late in the piece. It wasn't actually in the City of Melbourne brief to have a civic space. But we thought that it was important on a building of this scale for the city, to have a space that could be a gathering space for the public. What am I doing wrong? Try the mouse. Click the mouse. Up. Okay. Oh, I've gone back. There we go. I'm good. This is the main collection floor of the library. And you can see the double height space on the right. To the south side is TAC apartments. So that was an element of the brief that went in quite late. This is Sally Capp and Marie Clark, who was the Aboriginal artist who was engaged by the city in all of the interiors fit outs of the project. Level 3 is primarily landscape. There's 1,000 square metres of rooftop landscape there. Children's library and family services. Landscape by Bush Projects. And this connection to country was really carried through the whole job. Marie's work is really exceptional. I mean, there's more discussion. It's a whole presentation in itself, really. The next level is an office floor, which is now occupied by the Lord Mayor's Charitable Fund, and they sublet space to a range of charity services. The ESD credentials of Green Star 5-star and WELL rating. So it's got a pretty high, for the 7 years ago, that's a pretty high benchmark. And we've got 56 kilowatts of solar on the building. So in summer, it's pretty energy balanced. These upper levels are actually social housing. They were put into our brief quite late and expressed as a separate part of the building. And they're managed by Housing Choices. There are 55 dwellings. So in total, there are 64 new dwellings. Owned by, I'm not sure, but they were in the brief and ended up in our building, as part of the competition process. The integrated artwork is by Rose Nolan, also came into the brief quite late and was incorporated during construction in a very short time frame. So the screens were already designed and on the building, there's sunscreens, and sort of a reference to building hoardings. And Rose's design we adopted and flowed into the build process, so it went straight into the D&C process.
You get 20 seconds for Grace.
I think we're nearly there.
Move the house.
Yeah. Elevations. The wording is enough now,
Even more so.
So, even more so, and soon. They're reflections. 3D, which shows the complexity. There are 6 building classifications in this building. So more than 2/3 of the building code had to be applied. I mean, I'm just giving up on technology. I can't do it.
It's not you, it's not you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so finally some shots of the building. You've probably been waiting for that. This is the view from Queen Street. You can see the top of the building up the top. That's the even at the top. This is a view from street. It's prior to all the fit outs actually, this shot, so it's much more lively now. We've used recycled bricks. There's a heritage facade, art component. More than half the site is landscaped on roof. Oh man. And that's a quote from Mob Adams. I mean, the building it's an extension of the city. That's how I feel like it. It's a building for people. All of the functions of the building are really people functions.
Thank you.
And that's what makes it a public building.